and think about what I did as I walked up here and had to focus on this wonderful device. I want you to also think about your everyday lives, your interactions with others in social situations, and how you see these mobile devices continue to perhaps distract, maybe enlighten. What role do they play in our everyday lives? Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I'd like you to think tonight about the etiquette behind the use of mobile devices. It's very easy to think of our world as the entire thing being digitally saturated. The influx of technology is everywhere. And we're now in a point where there really aren't any rules for etiquette. This book right here was published in 1953, and it's Canadian Etiquette for Daily Living, where it goes through the guidelines of how you should act in different situations, whether it be a funeral, perhaps maybe a meeting with colleagues, a banquet ceremony, even funerals. It's interesting how these types of social activities have been happening for generations, for hundreds of years, some of them even thousands of years. Well, there's books written on how we should appropriately act in society. However, now, with this influx of technology, we're finding these things everywhere, all over the place. Yes, they're great. They afford us a lot of opportunities to be able to improve what it is that we do. We can be constantly communicating with loved ones. We can also be keeping up on emails over the weekend from work. There's a variety of things that we can do for these. Even entertain our small children with music videos as we attempt cleaning the house. The list goes on and on. There's a myriad of things that these can do. However, they seem to seep into our everyday lives. And I want you to think about, how should we be acting? I'm going to run you through a general, typical day that many of us would share. How do you get to work? If you're lucky, then perhaps maybe you work from home and you don't have to worry about commute. But what if you take the train, or the bus, or perhaps even have to drive into work? I was astounded, and I always am, at the number of people who are doing this, checking things, continually looking down at their lap when they're driving. I found out that for every one accident that's associated with alcoholism, that there are 4 associated with texting and driving. I think that's despicable, that it is socially acceptable to do this. I want you to think, if you've ever been in a car and the driver is on their phone, do you say anything to them? Are you the driver who's on the phone? Do you realize how much energy is being taken away from your concentration on what's happening when you're doing a simple text? There was a study that showed that every letter that you push in a text is the equivalent to 3 seconds of your eyes off the road. So that simple sentence, it's the equivalent of not paying attention for a few minutes. It's amazing. But yet, look around tomorrow when you're driving. How many people do you see on their phones? Let's fast forward to we're at the workday. Maybe you have a presentation by a colleague. Perhaps maybe even you're in a face-to-face conversation. Have you ever been interrupted or felt that the person really wasn't communicating with you completely? Yes, there's a lot that we say in our words, but our interpersonal communication skills and what we say without saying it is lost when we are constantly connected to our phones. So I ask, what message are we sending to the youth? In my school, there's a rule that if you have your cell phone out, even during class time or out in the hallway, you automatically receive a detention. Well, wait a minute. There are some good uses that can come out of it. We don't really understand a time and a place. It can be a distraction, but it can also be something that helps improve the quality of our work, perhaps even our life. It's the end of the day. It's date night. That's really exciting. Dinner and a movie. What else could I ask for? Except for the fact that we've perhaps seen this. A couple at a table, and they each have their phone out. An anticipation that maybe someone's going to tweet, text, Instagram, Facebook, email, IM me. You're okay and I'm going to have dinner with you, but if anything should happen on here, they're going to take precedence. And this is my reminder to you that this is more important than what's happening right in front of me. Have you ever been to a movie and you hear the buzzing go off? Maybe it's a sound that they have. Even on vibrate, sometimes you can hear it. How annoying is that? Or if they start talking on their phone. I've literally been in a theater where someone is having a conversation, and it always happens at the quietest part too. Why? I don't know. It just seems rude to me. I feel like our social construct should be a little bit more respectful of others and what we're doing. Now let's go on to the end of the day. Winding down, and you're in bed. Maybe you're checking the last minute email, making a list for activities you need to do tomorrow, all things that are helping you out. However, the light from the back screen, it's actually interfering with your body chemically. There's a hormone that's called melatonin. When light is being released, photoreceptors in the back of your eye pick up that message and start releasing melatonin. Any light suppresses that. Suppression of melatonin can actually lead to decreased metabolism, weight gain, obesity. It's been linked to tumor growth by increasing estrogen levels. So we have to think, and all day long, our society is really tethered to all of this technology. But I would like you to maybe step back and vet all of your usage of these mobile devices and really ask yourself, what is the etiquette of being constantly connected?